Hey everyone, welcome to Tim Talks Audio Live. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Thursday afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. This is live and interactive, so I hope you guys learn some stuff, but it's interactive, so I want you to, feel free to add stuff into the chat, ask questions as we go along. I'll answer whatever I can as we go through things. We're going to continue working on the track Mongreloid, Hear Me Now, and we've done some vocal stuff. We've already done drums and bass, and we did some mix bus processing. Now we're going to get into the guitars, and there's a reason that we did the vocals before we did the guitars is because we want to carve the guitars around the vocal. We don't want them on top of the vocal. We also want to make sure that there's space for the mid-range of the drums to cut through and space for the mid-range of the bass to cut through. So because the guitars themselves are very mid-rangey, audio and video good. Thank you, Kyle. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for coming back and watching another stream. I appreciate you showing up for all of these. So yeah, we're going to work with the guitars today because now we can really fill out the mid-range and the entire body of the song. And we'll do some little tricks. We'll do some EQs. We'll do some saturation. These are already like relatively heavy guitars, but adding a little bit more saturation, maybe in parallel, can just really fatten them up. It'll be really nice. We'll have some fun with that. Then we'll make sure that everything works with everything else. Oh, goodness. Make sure everything sits the way we want it to sit. And, I'm curious what anybody who's watching thinks as well. So, like I said, add messages to the chat if you're like, hey, I feel like this is too strong. I feel like this is too, not strong enough. That's the word I was looking for. So we're going to do it together and we're going to have lots of fun. Let's switch this over so you guys can see what I see. And here we are. We are in the session. So, let's take a look at everything again. Red is our drums, purple bass, green guitars. Then our vocals are down here in blue and the backgrounds are in pink. And then we have the stems that were provided. So these are like the master stems. Then everything is going through our mix bus here. And then this bottom track here, this is the client's reference rough mix. So actually, the other evening I recorded the next video, like the weekly releases that I do that come out on Monday, and it's talking about using reference tracks, one of them being something that you get from the client themselves, maybe the rough that they got from the studio or the rough that they put together or the rough that you put together if you were also the tracking engineer. This way, we can use this rough mix as a reference point to be like, okay, well, this is what they're used to hearing. How can we make this better? How can we beat this mix? So before we get into the guitar, I'm gonna pop my mixer back up real quick. I just want you to take a look at something. And again, this is gonna be in the video, but I'll give you a little spoiler right now. All of my tracks they're all going into these master stems. All of these master stems are then going into this mix bus. This mix bus is then going to out my main outputs. And so basically this track is then going out to this one. You may notice that the reference track doesn't go through my mix track. It also goes to the main, and I have it going to you guys as well. That's what this sub one is. The reason that I'm doing it like this and the reason that the channel is muted is it's a very easy way for any bus processing that you're doing will not affect your reference. You don't want any bus processing that you're doing to make your reference track sound any different, especially if you're using like a commercial release. So right now I have this one going on and it's going out my main, and there's nothing on the main except for a level meter and this it's a Fab Filter Pro Q3, but it's just room correction stuff. It's not going to affect anything that you guys hear. It just affects one set of my monitors in the room here. So now my mix bus, here's all my processing, my VU meter, the fat channel that we've done, and the compressor that I've done. And then this is going out the main, and then the reference track is going out the main, but it's muted. The reason that it's muted is obviously we don't want it playing at the same time, but it's going to throw our mix off. But anytime I want, I can just hit solo. And now I'm going to listen to the client's mix. I'm going to listen to the rough mix that I had and find out if I'm doing a better job or if I think that this mix is coming out better than the original mix or something that the client is already used to or something that I may have done already. Maybe I am working on a revision. Be like, okay, well, here's version 1. They asked for a couple of changes. Let me reference, make sure that 1, I'm getting those changes done, and 2, it's, I'm not taking away from what was part of the original mix. So when you solo, it mutes everything else except that. And then when you unsolo, it's right back to muted. Cool. So there's a little bit more in the video that's going to be coming out on Monday. So, make sure to check that one out. But let's get into these guitars. Let's take a listen to where we are, and then we'll start putting these guitars in at a rough balance. We'll do some EQ, maybe some compression, maybe some saturation, and maybe some widening stuff. We'll see what happens. Oh, Studio One. Oh, I think it's set up for the wrong output. That's that. That's that. Okay. No audio. So we figured out, oh, you know what? This is doing the same thing it was doing the other day. So let's just open up another project real quick. Not that. Let's just go to the start page. It's easier. We'll do this one. Make sure that everything's working, although it wasn't playing the song through my Apollo. But that's okay. That's why we're opening up another track. This isn't the one that we're working on. This is just to make sure that everything's working. Why are you ringing? You shouldn't even be on. Actually, you're going to turn off right now. And that guy's off. This is almost ready. That's on. That's on. Just making sure that everything that I need. Station over here, which allows me to do multiple sets of monitors. And then I'm making sure that the amp for the monitors that I'm currently using is on. So I know everything's on. I know my Apollo's on because you guys are getting sound. So that's a plus. All right. Here's a different track. I just want to make sure it's working. Once it stops thinking. Cool, it's doing that thing again. Something happens on Thursdays. Okay, so I can do this in the background and go back to you guys. Just gonna quit Studio One real quick. It's a good opportunity. If you have any questions, you can throw them into the chat and I'll do whatever I can to answer them. I'm just gonna reboot Studio One. Seems to be the theme on Thursdays is that for streams it doesn't want to work. Do I want to save my changes over here? No, I didn't really change anything, but I'm not going to save it anyway. So there's that. That did that. Let's reopen Studio One. How are you guys doing? I hope you're I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody's occupied, that you're keeping yourself busy. I hope everybody's writing music because now, as odd of a time that it is, there's a lot more free time that's happening now. So it's the opportunity for everybody to be writing more music, which is always good. Okay, back in the session. And now I'm seeing stuff. And I'm sure you guys heard that. So let's get back in.
Stepped on a new path I found, and I finally feel like I know who I am and doing what I'm told is starting to get old. Am I the only one with something to believe? It's like a new stay here.
Okay, that gave us an idea of where we're going. I think the relative balance of the guitars is okay. I think it can come up a little, and we'll take care of that. But we're going to do that with a little bit of EQ. I think just getting our EQs straight first is going to do a lot more of having these guitars sit where we want them. So it needs to be careful at the intro guitars, which I'm just going to go back to the first. That's this guy right here. And I do want to solo it. I want to get to the bottom of this. And I just want to hear what it ends with. So it kind of ends with like a hard stop right there. But if I remember correctly, it goes right into the full band. So there's some carryover, and there's some other guitars that kind of take up where this thing dies out. But let's just do a slight edit and see how it sounds. Just want a tiniest little cleanup right there. Okay. I do want to get my my rhythms in first. I want to worry about those ones. And these are the chorus guitars, basically.
Can anyone hear? My eyes open.
Okay, cool. So we know our verse guitars are right here, and our chorus and intro guitars are right here, and the chorus is just like bigger open chords. So, but they're in the same family basically. So we can kind of treat these the same, and we can fake it, not fake it, but we can use our settings. I'm going to go with a fat channel. This is available to everybody, and I always make sure to only use what is available to everybody. As a sneaky little thing, though, we are just going to throw a Pro EQ on before our fat channel, because I just want to use the analyzer and take a look at what's going on. I'm not mixing with my eyes. I just want to see what's happening, if there's already been some pre-processing done. And it looks like there hasn't. There was a lot of low end that was going on. I don't know if you saw that. So there's a lot of extra low end going on. I could use the Pro EQ to clean up some of that stuff. And actually I will, because I do want to do both a low cut and a high cut. I kind of want to just bring these in a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to do some high pass filtering. I'm going to do some low pass filtering as well, but not as low as you think. So let's start off with a low cut. And we'll keep it kind of gentle, and we'll start it at 75 and hear how it sounds. And of course, we'll do it within the mix, but we'll solo this guy in and out. So there's a lot of top end and air that's going on in these guitars. But some of that might clash with our cymbals. So we're just going to take this out of solo. And maybe we'll leave it like this, but what we're going to do is kind of something that's modeled after kind of an SSL style EQ is, that's our high cut. That's what we don't want to do. That's not the one I wanted. I want this high frequency guy. I'm going to do a little bit of a peak. And where are we at? This is at 9K. So let's bring this down to like 7K. And we're going to add a little bump, essentially making this high cut a resonant high cut. I could do this with, if I do a shelf EQ and then I change the Q, I want to go in the opposite direction. So let's say we wanted it at 8K and we want to cut some of that, but I can change this to be resonant. So it's going to get rid of some of those top frequencies, but because it's now a resonant filter, it's going to give us a little boost at what is centered around what looks like just under 6K. And this will bring out some of the attack to it, and it'll bring out some distortion growl. So we're going to leave the high cut off, and let's use the high pass, or excuse me, the high shelf, and take a listen. I'll start with it off, and then I'll... looks like in either the impulses that were there or just whatever processing happened beforehand, because if I remember correctly, this is a DI guitar, and he just printed the guitar simulator that he used. It looks like there was already like a 5K cut on it. So around 5K is where I kind of want some of that growl to come out, but there was already a 5K cut on it. So we're kind of, just rebalancing it. It's fine. There was a little bit of extra mid-range going on, something that just kind of like hummed for me. It just kind of like stood out a little. So literally 4 dB out. Actually, I'm just going to make this 3. This way it's not so bad. It's a little narrow because it's a cut. I just want to get rid of some of that and don't take out too much of the body of the guitar on this one. And I think that's where we'll go. Let's do a quick A/B. And that's where we'll start. We could do a little bit more of a high pass. This one's going to be a little bit lower just to get rid of some of that real extra stuff that we don't need. I don't care about a gate because it's a big guitar. It's already been edited. We can get past that. We're going to do... we've already done a little corrective EQ. So because we've done that, let's throw our compressor first. And we'll do a corrective EQ. We'll throw our compressor on, tighten everything up. This is a distorted guitar, so it doesn't have too much dynamic range to it to begin with. But doing a little bit of compression may not necessarily be a bad thing. Things that are available are going to be just the standard compressor, which is this one here that is already on. The tube compressor and the FET compressor are available for everybody, because these are the ones that come standard with... fat channel. So I'm not going to go for something that I would really want to use on this, which would probably be... Actually, you know what? Do I want a FET or do I want an opto? I think I want a FET. So I want slow attack, fast release. It's going to be gentle. We're not going to do a lot. I'm already going to bring this down just to try and find where I'm going. And let's dial in some compression. That's not bad. So this is another clean guitar that's going on. And there's a lot of low information that's going on with it. So first off, I'm just going to bring my Pro EQ over. Okay, so what I did right there is I very quickly jumped over and put everything into mono, and I wonder, I shouldn't have done it here. What I should have done is done it here. And what I'm listening for is the mono compatibility of these stereo guitars with this mono guitar C that's going on in here. And I'm just seeing what it's doing when we're in mono. So really what this guitar is doing is just adding a little bit of like up the center presence to it. It's adding a little bit of articulation. So I'm just going to change it up a little.
Stay here. Distraction is all but gone.
So I think that's a decent spot. But now I also feel like the guitars are a little bit on top of the vocals. This is why we did the vocals first. So now I'm looking at the guitar bus because there's two guitars that are happening during this chorus, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that's happening later. These left and right guitars that are happening here. Get this out of here. So that eventually I'm going to have kind of a decent number of guitars that are happening, including this. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of bus processing on these guitars as well. And really, I just want the tiniest amount of compression just to really glue all of these guitars together. And what I'm going to do real quick to see if it works, and it should, is I'm going to copy my settings from my chorus guitars over to my verse guitars. Now, the verse, I want them to be a little quieter because I want when the chorus hits to it be a little bit bigger and a little bit louder. So I'm going to bring the verse guitars down a little. Actually, let's just go ahead and assume...
All the chaos that sparked this storm, there's just gotta be something more. It's like...
Ooh, this is going to be a really good opportunity to show you guys something. On these verse guitars, they're just palm mutes. So I'm going to do one of my, not my tricks, but one of my favorite tricks to do. We're going to get into some multiband dynamics. We're just going to do a little. What we're going to concentrate on is the buildup of the low mid frequencies. Whenever you do palm guitars or palm mutes on a guitar, you get a lot of buildup in these low mid frequencies. So what we can do is actually hone them in. I'm just going to very quickly bypass. Oh, not this one. I want to bypass everybody. And I can just get rid of these extra ones that we don't need because I want to concentrate on. I got to move some stuff so I can see the screen a little better. Okay. This is. I'm going to put this up to 200. I'm going to put this one up to 500. And we're just going to listen to what's happening here in the guitars, on the verse guitars. So it's a lot of the body of the guitars, but it's also just a lot of buildup. So we can use a multiband dynamics to squish this area down a little. So I've honed in on it. If I want to listen to the lows as well. I just changed the order because I do want to use the low pass filter, or low cut filter, excuse me, before the multiband dynamics, just to get rid of some of that extra mud. I was just listening to it, and when you change the order, I just want to make sure that the same signal that I'm getting on most of my other guitars is going to be the same here. So I put the Pro EQ first with all the little corrective stuff. Now we're going to get into multiband dynamics. Let's go back to our low mid, and we'll adjust the threshold so that we get just a little bit of compression when they're doing the palm mutes. Because we're only listening to the lows and the low mids in solo, sounds a little weird. So there's something happening over here. Let's find this guy. And then it's just kind of emphasizing little bits. And what I want to listen to, since I'm here, is the reference to see like how much this is actually helping.
Hear me now, my eyes open to see the light. It's like watching the clouds disperse. And
so it's just really emphasizing. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
hear me now, my eyes open to see the light. It's like watching the clouds disperse.
It's just a transition. It's helping push to the next chord. Let's try just taking our stuff over, seeing if it will help make some differences and changes. The only other thing that I do want to check, and go back to here, is this is the only little thing that this guitar is doing. So I might put this up the middle. It is pans from the original session. And our note here says that it's alternate panning. Oh, maybe alternate panning means automation. So that's something we can do. We can have fun with. I do also want to see what this guy is. Ahaha, lots of fun there. So let's hear him up the center. Yep, let's just throw our fat channel. So one thing that I am seeing is I have, I've got two bases going on, and I do have a print. Let me just double check what I'm doing. There's a little bit of that. That's, okay, so this is my low. Let me rename this. BCI low, and then that's my high. Okay, because what I want to check is I want to be able to bring a little bit more top end of my bass out to have them blend in better. So that's something I'm hearing, and that's what mixing is. It's like doing something, seeing how it affects everything else. And I feel like there could be some more presence to our bass track. Now, what we could do, in theory, come on, open up. There he is. Let's do a little... So that's something I'm going to play with. It's not quite right. And what I might do is actually just steal what I've done on red light, copy my DI again, like a full DI, and throw this on there. Just this way, when the full band comes in, it just has a little bit more growl on that bass to blend in better with those guitars and give it its own little sense of presence. So let's go back over here. I don't need that window open anymore. Stay here, distracted is all but gone. Taking a good look around, it's too late for me to turn back. I've stepped on a new path I found, and I finally feel like I know who I am and doing what I'm told is starting to get old. Am I the only one with something to... So more balancing. I went to the reference track and there was more presence on the vocal in the reference track. So I just went back to my lead vocal bus into the fat channel, which actually was just doing a little bit of bus compression. And I threw the equalizer on just to give it a little bit more top end.
Stay here. Distraction is all but gone. I've taken a good look around. It's too late for me to turn back. I've stepped on a new path I found, and I finally feel like I know who I am and doing what I'm told is starting to get old. Am I the only one with...
Okay, I think we're doing pretty good. This is the intro guitar. But it comes back over here. And clearly the compressor settings on this were are way off, so we can readjust there. Let's turn the EQ off, turn the input down. I almost want to do some multiband dynamics on this guy as well. So I'm going to bring him over from the other one. We'll do some adjustments. And I do want to pull my Pro EQ in just to do like that same kind of cleanup. I may not need the low frequency and the low mid. Ooh, I don't like that. And that too. Could be a tiny bit more sparkly. Yeah, it could be more sparkly, and we're working on that. We'll get that. Because what we can do is actually throw a little bit of saturation in, and that will help. And we could just on the bus itself throw, whether it's on just this guitar itself, it could probably use some more top end. So maybe we will take this guy off and we'll take a listen to that. But we're going to clean it up with some of this. So I don't know if you heard that. This was really taken off. So this didn't do much in either direction, so we're not going to worry about that. Now let's do some multiband just to kind of like hone in, again, those low mids. And we're going to use the effect channel that came with this session, just to give this a little bit of life. So where is he? Flanger. You're an effect channel. Hang on, I'll find him. Where are you? Flanger, there you are. So I think that'll be nice. So I want that to kind of give it a little bit of width, but we'll do some other stuff to give some extra width as well. Let's see, what is this guitar? This is at the end. Oh, yeah. Steal some of these things that we've done already. Same thing with this and this. I should have just done these as a whole, but that's fine. Here's the flanger bit at the end already in there. So we got everything kind of sitting relatively close to what we want. All right, let's take a listen to where we are at. Let's just go ahead and go to the start. Before we get into that, I see that Javier asked a question. What monitors do I use? I have two sets of monitors, actually. Right now, I'm listening on a pair of Yamaha NS10s that are being fed from a Yamaha. This is the... If I remember correctly, it's the P2100 amp. So that's feeding what I'm listening to right now. And then my other set of monitors, I have the Kali Audio LP8s. These are usually what I use. I like my NS10s. I usually use my NS10s as a reference for when I'm doing like guitars and mid-range heavy stuff. Because if you can make it sound good on a pair of NS10s, it usually sounds good everywhere else. The reason I'm not using my Kalis right now is because the machine that you guys or that I'm feeding the stream from is actually blocking one. So instead of everything being like pushed off to the left, because the left doesn't have anything in front of it, I'm just listening on my NS10s right now. So you may see that I'm pushing stuff a little bit harder. I can switch over, but I'm going to have to put my room correction curve on. And the Kalis give a fuller range. NS10s, they have like a pretty hard cutoff at, about 100 hertz. They really start diving down from there. But the Kalis, they go all the way down. I think I've measured my room down to 40 hertz. And I think they get down to there, which is plenty for what I do. Okay, so that's something to do when you're doing everything is I hit play, and I think the beginning is really nice. When the guitars come in, it gets real big. So we start off with this twinkly guitar. And right here, when everything comes in and they hold, I like how big it gets. It doesn't get too compressed or anything. Right there, right when everything comes in, it gets real small. So what I'm actually going to do is I selected all of my main buses, and I'm going to kind of rebalance real quick. I think the drums are pretty good where they are. I'm going to go back a couple bars. We may need to throw a snare sample in as well. Now, these are already like programmed drums, but I think I want to add a little something to this as well. But we'll see. What we could also do, possibly, is a little saturation on the drums. Let's start with that. Let's throw a red light district onto the drums themselves. And I do want this to be... let's go with hard tube. I'm going to let it do everything, but the mix is going to be... Like, it's going to sound real weird when you hit it at first, but we're going to bring everything down in the mix. What I might actually do instead is create a new bus and throw a red light district on here. This way I can send a copy and blend it in that way, which is something I'd much rather do. So let's do a send. We called this bus 1. So this is drum distortion. Makes it a little phasey there. Let's see if there's any presets. Bass drum, big meanie, broken beaty, dirty drum machine. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know if this is doing what I want it to do. I don't think it's giving me what I want, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go down here and let's take a look. Let's see. Maybe some bit crush. I don't know if that's going to do exactly what I want. Let's find something that gives us a little bit of crunch. No, not VT1, a tone. You know what? Let's go crazy. Let's go with a guitar amp. Cause what we could probably do is let's just do some crunch. And as long as there's no like time bass effects or anything like that going on, this could be decent. Could also be terrible. We'll find out. You know, it would be good if we did a crunchy bass. Let's do something funky. Grinder bass. Let's try that. Nope, none of that works. I don't like any of that. We'll just rebalance everything. Let's get rid of this. Go away. And we don't need that send anymore. You can do drum and snare, much light drum kit, so dead, don't like. Must do sidechain guitars from vocal. We might do some of that, some of the sidechaining the vocals from the guitars, so that the guitars get out of the way of the vocals. We're really just working on the balances of everything right now.
Stay here. Am I the only one? 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 Am I the only one with something to believe? It's like a new frontier, the truth that goes unseen. Can't you hear life calling? It falls upon deaf ears, the sound will keep falling. And I'm sorry, but I can't stand. Am I the only one with something to believe? It's like a new frontier, the truth that goes unseen. Can't you hear life calling? It falls upon deaf ears, the sound will keep falling. And I'm sorry, but I can't stay here. I'm sorry, but I can't stay here.
For this little vocal thing, I'm going to just take the stack that I had from all of my other vocal channels. It is an effect, so we may change some stuff, but I definitely want to compress it because there's a bunch of delays happening, and I want to bring those out. So let's go back to the start here.
I'm sorry, but I can't stay here.
I don't think that's bad. I am curious what you guys think. I think we're very, very close, and I need to look. It is 3:30. There's something I need to check real quick, so I'm going to go like this so that you can't see my computer. I just need to check. But I think we're very close. I think our balance is much better now compared to the reference that's going on. I think we're in a very good spot. I think we're already beating the reference because the reference itself had a very mid-rangey, very honky sounds. I like to do this a lot whenever I listen to the other one to show you what it kind of sounds like. And then we have our mix like this. It's much more open, much more body to it. A lot of things going on. I just need to do this thing real quick. I do want to know what you guys all think, so please let me know. Am I going to do any, going back to the sidechain, the guitars from the vocal? We might do that. Is that 4? Okay, I'm not worried about that then. let's go back into this. I may do a little bit of sidechaining the guitars from the vocal. Maybe. Considering that during the verse...
Can anyone hear me now? My eyes open to see the light. It's like watching the clouds disperse, and I'm starting to feel alive. And I think I can simplify all the chaos that sparked this storm. There's just gotta be something more. Am I the only one with something to believe? It's like a new frontier, the truth that goes unseen. Can't you hear life calling? It falls apart.
I do want my chorus guitars to be just a little bit bigger.
That sparked this storm. There's just gotta be something more. Am I the only one with something to believe? It's like a new frontier, the truth that goes unseen. Can't you hear life calling? It falls upon deaf ears. The sound will keep falling. And I'm sorry, but I can't only to believe. It's like
So here's another thing we could do is when the lead vocals are in,
it falls upon deaf ears. The sound will keep falling. Only one with something to believe. It's like a new frontier, the truth that goes unseen. Can't you hear life calling? It falls upon deaf ears. The sound will keep falling.
is I can find the same relative area where his voice sits compared to both of these guitars. And let's try that. This way you're just like EQ carving. You don't need to do the side chain if you carve the EQ out so that the vocal sits. I think it's better now. It definitely beats the reference. Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate you giving me that kind of feedback. It means a lot. And I'm happy that you are... or that what I'm doing is actually making a difference. So that means a lot. But yeah, instead of side chaining the chorus guitars from the vocal, which is definitely something you could do, you could just find the frequencies and maybe notch them out a little bit like we just did. So
And I'm sorry, but I can't stay here. Distraction is all but gone. I've taken
oh, no. You know why? Because I did this. I like to have that on. That's I just right clicked on play and return to start on stop. So anytime I hit play and I hit stop, it goes right back to the beginning of the section because I do a lot of that.
only one with something to believe. It's like a new frontier, the truth that goes unseen. Can't you hear life calling? It falls upon deaf ears. The sound will keep falling. And I'm sorry, only one with something to believe. It's like a new frontier, the truth that goes unseen. Can't you hear life calling? It falls upon deaf ears. The sound will keep falling. And I'm sorry, but I can't stay here. Distraction is all but gone. I've taken a good look around. It's too late for me to turn back. I've stepped on a new path I found. And I finally feel like I know who I am and doing what I'm told. It's starting to get old. Am I the only one with something to
So I think we're at the point now where our balances are very nice. I think our balances between everything are very nice. Maybe the background vocals can come up a little bit more because I love background vocals, and these might need to be reapproached. So lightening up the compression on the bus helped a bit, where we can actually just like rebalance these down. So I definitely think that that's way closer. I think our balances, like I was already saying, I think our balances are much closer to where I would want them to sit. There's a few things that we need to do. Some is like this is still a super dry mix. We have no effects going on. All we have are EQs and compression. But it shows you how far you can get with just EQ and compression. You can get very, very close to like a finished mix using just that. Why do I have mix tool in here? Oh, because it was my makeup gain from my compressor. That's why. Just wanted to see that. But that's where we are. We have nothing in here to make this wet. But that'll be something that we could do. Hey, what are you doing over there? It'll be something we could do on the in our next episode or in our next stream, which will be next Tuesday at 2:30 Eastern. We will get into doing some effects. So we're going to throw some stuff in. We're going to throw some extra saturation in. Obviously, we're going to get into our reverbs and our delays, and we're going to make this real big and fat and everything like that. When we do that as well, we'll also get into our automation on this track so that we can put some life back into it. Right now, we're just sitting at a static mix, but you want movement. You want movement and life in any mix you do. You want people to be able to like dance around to it. And having static faders, especially when everything is like broken down like this, that's just the reference. Let's get rid of the mixer and let's take a look at everything, which I think I've set to 1, 2, 3. This it doesn't matter. I'll just go like this. When everything is set into different sections like this and you do your edits, then yeah, it does make things a lot easier because I can go in and be like, okay, well, I know that these are like my chorus guitars. So I want my chorus guitars to be a little bit louder. This way, when the chorus hits, boom, it's a little bit louder. And basically, that's automation. If everything was on one track, we would have to go and be like, okay, well, here's the verse, bring that down a little. Here's the chorus, bring that up a little. Here's the bridge, maybe have this kind of come up and down and do some weird effect stuff. But everything's already broken out onto different tracks. So all of the automation can be like set onto the individual channels themselves. This way it gets nice and big. Same thing for like right there. What you could do is a little bit of automation on this guitar because it starts the song by itself and it's fine. The level, where it is in the level, it's fine. But once it gets close to where the full band comes in over here, at the very start of those big open chords, you lose the riff and it gets lost. So what you could do is just kind of automate up while that riff hits or while the big chord hits. And then as they decrease because they're sustaining, you can just automate back down to the original level. A very quick and easy way to do that. U level, let's see, volume. So I believe the hit is at bar 17. Why are you not locking? Go to 17. And let's take a listen. So about a bar later, you can hear it again. So I can just go here and then just recover back down to our -8, I think the number was. But if it just does like a little jump right here. Oh, why are you moving so much? Let's say a 3 dB jump, just for an example. It helps it stick out just a little bit more when everything else comes in and it gets real big there. And then once you get closer to the full bands coming in, we can take this guy to really lead us in. There's a guitar scratch that's going on, and I think it's the only time that this track does anything, and it is. We could do some cool pan automation in there too. So we'll get to all this stuff. Yeah, they can just detect the 3 dB difference. But sometimes 1 dB is really all you need, because what we can also do is automate the rhythm guitars to come down a dB. So now we have a difference of 4 dB, and that'll be an even bigger difference. So these are definitely things that you can do. It's like at the very start of that guitar, just drop it a little, and then have it ride back up, and then have the lick itself start somewhere and come back down. You have that boost when everything comes in and then come back down. So I think we're going to wrap it up for today. I think our balances are very good, and that's what we're going to work with from here. So the next time when we get back in, we are going to do our... let's get in and throw some like reverbs, some delays, some cool effects, let's do some saturation, let's do stuff like that. Really make this song just a little bit bigger. And then what we're going to do on our last stream, and I'll work on this, is we'll master this one as well. Now, I've been doing the mix, and generally when I mix, I outsource my masters to somebody else, but that doesn't always work. Somebody might not have the budget to do that, and they're like, hey, can you just do it? So we'll go over some ways to do it. And we'll do it in the track itself, but maybe we'll also touch into the project page, which isn't available to everyone. It's available for pro users, and it's not available for artist or prime users. So we'll show some things that we could do just in the just the song view that we're looking at here, versus just going into the project. And it might be better to just stay within this window because everybody knows this one. But if you want to see the project window and we can go into there, then we can do some stuff into there. I want to know what you guys think about doing that. Let me know what you think of the mix so far compared to the reference, and compared to like where we started. You can go back to just a couple streams ago when we first started, because today we rebalanced real quick. Once we had everything in, we at least I heard there was a lot of like extra compression going on when stuff would hit. So I just did a quick rebalance to make everything sit better, and so that when something happened, it didn't squish and it didn't get too hard, didn't get the life taken out of it. There may be some other things that we'll do once we get into like the automation and everything, and after a bunch of the effects are in. But we definitely want to fill out the extra space that's there, so we'll do that with some of the effects. But I think where everything is balanced right now is kind of where I want it to sit. So we're going to wrap it up for now. I'm going to say thanks for coming out and watching. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me every time I do a stream. And I do streams during these interesting times that we're in every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to come back here. I do it on my YouTube channel, which might be where you're watching now, and it's actually where it seems most people are watching, but I also stream onto Facebook, onto the Tim Talks Audio Facebook group. I keep looking over here because I have it on a machine over here. So I stream over to there. And Kyle, I can't wait to see you on Tuesday. I appreciate you showing up every single time and being active the entire time. It means a lot, so thank you very much. Thank you to Javier, and I'm going to say Kem. It was early in here earlier. I don't know anybody else that's currently in, because those are the only people who have been in chat, but that's fine. I want to know more from you guys. I want you to ask me lots of questions so we can go over it, whether it be in this song or in a song that you guys are working on. And again, thank you for coming and hanging out. If you liked the video, or if you found anything informative, please like and share the video, because the replays are always available on YouTube. If you have a question, ask it in a comment on this video or in any of the groups that I'm active on. That's in the Facebook groups, the Presonus Studio One groups, the number of the Facebook groups I'm active on. You can also reach out to me on social media, Tim Talks Audio, on all of those things. If you're looking for individual lessons where I can actually help you with your song, while I'm home and you're home. It's the greatest thing. Reach out, www.timflansbaum.com for more info on that, or you can just send me an email. That'll work for there. And thank you for hanging out with me again. So I appreciate you guys. And I hope that we're, everybody's enjoying where the mix is and where the song is, and we're just going to keep pressing forward next week. So we'll see you then, and thanks for watching.